All right, good evening, everyone, and thanks for taking your time again to join this session. Today we'll be going a bit technical in the sense that compared to other taster sessions that we've done this week, this will be the first technical one that we are doing. So this is all about software automation testing. To start with, my name is Akin Oladeji. And I currently work as a senior software automation engineer at K3. I've been fortunate to work for different organizations ranging from consultancy to education to health to banking to oil and gas. I think for this particular course, I'll relay with you more because I came from a non-technical background as well. I came from an accounting background, and I was desperate for a change, and I had to do similar course back then as well. And it's all story today, so to say. So this is what I tell my students: if I can do it, anybody can do it. It doesn't matter whether you come from a technical background or you don't come from a technical background. The most important is the willingness to learn. It's going to eat out of your time, it's going to take your time, but as long as you have that determination, the hunger for change, trust me, you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So that is just a bit about myself. I'm still going to talk more about probably that later on, but let's focus about why we are here today. So software automation engineer, to start with as well, it doesn't matter, as I do normally say, since COVID or after COVID, it doesn't matter the country you are. As long as you have the experience, as long as you know what you're doing, you can be recruited by a foreign companies. And this course as well is one of the shortage of skilled worker in the UK as well, meaning you might be fortunate to get a company that is going to sponsor your visa as well. But even that aside, you can be in your home country and still get employed by a foreign company whereby you still get a good pay at the end of the day. So regardless the route that you want to go, this is the best time to actually join the train. The average salary for an automation tester in the UK is around 45,000. Why if you're going for a contract, you're looking at like 350, 400, 450, 500 from that upward. The good thing is, as I said earlier on, you don't need any technical experience. People will argue with you that, you need to have studied computer science and all of that. I still tell them I'm a typical example, right? I'm a living example. I did accounting. My first degree was accounting. My second degree was accounting. But because I have that hunger for change in me, I was able to go through the transformation, go through the transition successfully. The road will not be easy. The road will be full of challenges, trials, but the most important is you have people to work side by side with you. You have people to support you. You have people to take you from the very scratch of the journey. And by the way, I'll be the one facilitating this training. So I've been able to, regardless, my students come from different background, nursing, security, warehouse, those with no technical background at all. And I've been able to take them from knowing nothing to a point whereby at the end of the training, they are in a good position to start competing with those who have been doing. who has been doing the job for 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the market. All right. As I said earlier on as well, it's eligible for visa sponsorship as well. So if you live outside the UK and you're looking for a visa sponsorship, you might be fortunate to get a company who can sponsor you on this particular course. All right. So why software automation testing? As I said earlier on, remotely, you can work remotely. I think I've been working remotely now for the last probably going to 4 years, even before COVID. Probably once in 6 months, probably that's when I'd have to go to work or something like that. So this has it's now made after COVID, it's now, every organization. You can't see in a tech company now, in an IT company now, it's really hard for you to see or them saying you should come to work Monday to Friday. It's just not possible again. Most they will do is it's hybrid working, probably 3 days from home, 2 days at work. So that's the benefit of you working in this type of setting, and it's in high demand. You can go on, I'll show you as we go along. You can go on JobServe, you can go on any job website. Software automation testing is really, really high in demand. Every organization requires this service. We have manual testing, we have automation testing. But most organizations, because they want to increase the quality of their products, because they want to ship to the market on time, most of them are capitalizing on automation testing now. And that is why it is a very fantastic time to get into the market. All right. So the training roadmap for the software testing is it's going to be an 8 weeks training. So it's going to be 8 weeks practical and on-job training. When I say practical, it is practical, as in really, really practical. It's to involve your time. You need time, because imagine you going from non-technical to technical. It is an avenue, it is an area you know nothing about before. And you just don't want to know something about it. You want to be competent enough that at the end of the training, or both the live project and the practical training, you want to be able to compete with those who has been doing it in the industry for 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the market. People will ask me, how possible is that? It is possible. I've gone through the same process, and I can tell you categorically, it is possible. I got my very first role 2 weeks after I finished my training back then. But it wasn't easy. It involves loads of sleepless nights, because you want to make sure that you position yourself well, you know what you're saying, and you are able to defend whatever question comes at you at the interview. Even back then when I did mine, there wasn't any form of support system. I had to do everything by myself. Research, sleepless nights, reading, and all of that. I was having interview back to back almost every day. And the role that I eventually got as my very first role wasn't just a simple interview that I went through. It was a 3 stages of interview. The first one being 1 hour interview on the phone. The second one is 2.5 hours on site. The first 1 hour technical test. The second part was interview on the technical test I did at their own site, 2.5 hours. And the third one was another 1 hour interview with the head of whatever, technical, whatever. This was someone who just finished a training 2 weeks before. Even if that company didn't employ me For me, getting to the third stage, I was really proud of myself. Because if I didn't tell them that, oh, this guy that you're interviewing just finished the training 2 weeks ago, nobody will know. And that can only happen if your sweat has gone into it, your timing has gone into it. So the training will involve 8 weeks practical training. We'll be using all the tools that we'll be using are all industry standard tools, which I'm going to mention later on as well. And I don't think you have any better person to take you on the journey than myself, because I've gone through the same process as well. I understand how it works compared to someone who, who just happened to be a facilitator. I've gone through the same kind of process. I understand the loopholes. I understand the best way to take someone from a non-technical perspective to a technical perspective. All right, let's move on. Then we have the project, working on a project. But the training, the practical training is different from working on a project. Working on a project, it's a choice because that comes with a separate pay as well. The practical training is more than enough to secure a role. It's more than enough to equip you with all the knowledge that you need to secure your first role. But due to popular demand by my previous student that, oh, you know what, I still want to get my hands dirty. I want to really know the culture, what type of setup I'll be working, what type of team, scrum team, what are the agile rituals made of while you're working at the real working environment. So the project will take you through all the agile rituals like daily stand-up. So the project will take you through all the agile rituals that is being performed at the workplace, like daily stand-up, sprint planning, sprint refinement, sprint retrospective. And not only that, you'll be working in a sprint. When you work in a sprint, you are working. A sprint is for 2 weeks, meaning any ticket or any task that you've been assigned has to be completed on or before the end of the sprint. All this you'll be working as part of a team as well. And all this you go through if you want to do the project. But as I said, the project is separate from the training. Some people subscribe for the training that they're already working in an agile environment, they don't need the project, which is good. And as I said, the training as well is 95% practical, which is more than enough to secure your role. So that's the form the project will take. And the training, whether it's a software testing training, project management, business analyst, we don't train for you to pass a certification exam. No, that is not the idea. That is not the idea of our own training. We train you so that at the end of the training, you are in a better position to start applying for jobs and to start competing with those who has been doing it for so many years. Certification exam can be done at your own convenient time. Because as you see on your screen, only certification cannot guarantee you the job. You need the hands-on job and some practical experience of the role as well. So that is the bit about the project. And this is another good one. You've gone through the training, you've gone through the project. You now know, you have the know-how now, you have the knowledge now. But it is not all about the knowledge as well. The next bit is now about your presence, how you position yourself in the market. If you have all the knowledge, but nobody is seeing you, Nobody is noticing you. Then what's the knowledge that you just acquired? What's what is it all about? What are you using it for? No. So that is why everything has to be done. If you think you need to go through a total rebranding, a total repackaging, by the way, CV review comes with the package. Give you a template of the CV. You go and build your CV. You send it back. We review, because there are certain things that has to go on your CV before you start getting calls. But if you think you can't even do that, that you want someone to build your CV for you from the scratch, you want someone to create your LinkedIn profile for you from start to finish as well, we partner with one of the best in the industry as well, who can help you to achieve that, but they will charge you for that. But all I'm trying to say is, for you to be seen after you've gathered the knowledge, after you've acquired the knowledge, you have to be seen as well. You have to position yourself strategically as well. So it is not only about, it is a total package. The training, the knowledge, the practicals, the complete package. So that is why this is so important as well. And LinkedIn, I tell you, is a powerful place to get jobs. You don't even need to apply. If you stand out, if your profile stand out, recruiters will disturb you day in, day out. They would disturb you day in, day out. They want to chat with you because your profile is attractive. All right. So after the first 3 now has been done, that is that you've acquired the knowledge, you've gone through the project, you've gone through the rebranding, total repackaging, and all of that. Then you start applying for jobs. Even sometimes you don't even need to apply for jobs, because there are certain sites, even all the sites. If you make your CV searchable, recruiters will keep calling you. If your CV is good, you've done everything you can. Just make your CV searchable. You'll see how recruiters will start bombarding your phones, right? Then if you don't want to do that, you can apply manually as well. Manual application, you can do that as well. But that is the next stage. You start applying for jobs. And when you are shortlisted for any jobs, we assist and we support with interview preparation, and to get you ready for the interview, so to say, because your success is our success at the end of the day. If you are able to secure your role, someone is going to ask you, how did you do it? And that is when you'll be able to refer that I did my training with Learn with Pride. So we don't just leave you hanging. We work side by side with you. We make sure that in we do everything that we can for you to secure your role. Because as I said, your success is a success at the end of the day. It's not only about the money that you are paying. It's not only about that. The money will finish, but the integrity as well, it's the most important. I've made mention of this as well. When you are shortlisted for any interview, we do the interview preparation together, whether it's a panel, interview prep, whereby you'll be on a hot seat, or it could be one-on-one. It all depends on your preference, actually. And you have access to mentors as well. So it's not only about the facilitator, or it's not only about me. If I'm not available, meanwhile, I try to be available all the time. If I'm not, you have access to mentors as well. If you have any questions, query, concerns, you have people that you can always go to at any point in time. All right, so this is a sample software automation job. As you can see, I think this was a few days ago. This is paying 60K and is remote working as well. paying 60K, that is a lot of money. And I tell you, this is for someone who just finished a training and your first role, you can get up to this one. Honestly, people will envy you because many people work so many years getting promotion, and meanwhile they still don't earn up to 60K per year. And you, your first role after completing a training like that, you were able to secure a 45, 50, 55,000 role. That is fantastic. That is no brainer at all. And you can see this is a contract role paying 380 per day. Let's just round it up to 400 per day. Getting 400 per day, that is you getting 8,000 per month. How many people are getting 8,000 per month? I'm sure it's only few people getting that. So these are all the type of jobs that are open to you once you acquire the knowledge. You can, the sky is just the beginning. When you acquire the knowledge, you can spread your wings and fly. You can spread your wings and fly. I tell you. Introduction to the course outline. That is actually on another spread. Let me get that up. All right. This is what the course outline looks like. I focus more on automation because that is where I see the loophole. Many people can do manual testing. Manual testing doesn't take much. There's no technicality into manual testing. So many people can go online, read about manual testing, put CVs together, and start applying for jobs. That is why you see that when you apply for such roles with no technical that just anybody can do, you see many applications will be received, probably like 200 applications. Now tell me, what is your chance of getting shortlisted when 200 people has applied for just one single role? It's very, very slim. That is why I focus more on automation, because many people, when they at the mention of C# or at the mention of any programming language, people will back away. People will tell, oh, you know what? Just leave me. Let me be doing my warehouse job. Or just leave me. Let me continue with my security job. Or just leave me. Let me continue with my customer service job. But meanwhile, that is the place that the job really is. And it doesn't take, you just need someone to take you through the process. As I said, myself, a few years ago, I have no knowledge about all these things. But many people are just so scared that at the mention of programming language, C#, coding, they run away. They don't even want to know what comes after that. So I focus more on automation testing because that is where I find the gap, and it's better for you to capitalize on where there's a gap. But that being said, because my students come from different backgrounds, right, I still start from the very beginning, which is the manual testing. I still start from the very scratch for you to know the fundamental, the genesis of testing, how testing is done, what is testing. And it is from that knowledge that we are going to build the automation on top so that everything can be meaningful as we are doing it. 90% will be on automation, while 10% will be on manual. All right, so the course outline, so as you can see on the screen, manual testing will be going through the software development lifecycle, that is SDLC. Also software testing lifecycle, which is STLC. Different stages of manual testing, methods of manual testing. And the tool that we'll be using, unlike the traditional manual testing, we won't be using Excel. because the world has gone beyond Excel now. There are tools, industry standard tools that we'll be using. The one we'll be using for that, for our manual testing, is called Azure DevOps. It's a well-known tool out there as well. Many organizations are using is either they are using Azure DevOps or they are using Jira, one of the two. But you don't need to learn all the tools. Once you know how to use one, you can use that knowledge, you can apply that knowledge on any other tools that are similar in nature. So we'll be using Azure DevOps for the manual testing, and after that we'll be looking at the automation. The programming language we'll be using for the automation is C#. I chose C# because for those who come from Africa, when you learn how to drive with, those old B2 car, Volkswagen car, they'll tell you that there's no other car you won't be able to drive because that car is very difficult to use to learn how to drive. Same thing with C#. If you learn how to code or how to write your automation script in C#, that being said, or you've been trained on C#, don't be surprised that your first role that you get might not be on C#. Your first role you get might be on Java, might be on even non-Selenium, probably like Cypress. Again, I'm a living example of that. There was this particular role after I wanted to leave my very first role then that I got. So I was applying, I was shortlisted for this particular role, but I wasn't so keen. Why? Because it was a Java role. I know I wasn't trained on Java. I don't even know what Java is. I know it's a programming language, but I don't know whether it's similar to C# or it's not similar to C#. But I was called for the interview and I went. On my CV, there was no Java on my CV either. So not that I lied on my CV that I've used Java before. No, it wasn't on my CV. But because the people that was interviewing me knows that if this guy says actually knows how to script in C#, then Java should be a walk in the park for him. But as at that time, I know nothing. I didn't know anything. And I was asked, have you used Java before? I said, no, I haven't, but I'm always willing to learn. And that is it. I didn't lie because it wasn't on my CV. So I could tell them, no, I haven't used it before, because actually I haven't used it before. As I said earlier on, I wasn't keen about the role, but I just went that let me just go for the sake of going. And the interview went on for another 40 minutes and they said they'll get back to me. I wasn't, if you get back, all well and good. I wasn't so keen because it's Java. After 2 weeks, I got a phone call that I got the role and they would like to offer me the role. And they said, this is how much they want to pay and all of that. So I was thinking, how come I haven't used Java before? I didn't put Java on my CV. Why did they choose me for the role? But they know that if this guy truly can script in C#, then Java shouldn't be a problem for him. Same thing will go to you. So if you learn how to script in C#, don't be surprised that your first role might not even be on C#. Your first role might be on a different, as in a complete different programming language, because they believe you can do it. And it is true. If you know this thing proper, then you just need probably a week or 2 weeks to get if you get a job in any other programming language, because they are all similar. They are all similar ways of writing scripts. It's only few bits and pieces that are different. So we'll be using C#, and I just explained why I chose C# as the programming language I'll be using, because it gives you a better chance of securing another role that is not C#. All right, so while going through C#, we'll be going through how to download and install in C#, how to download and install Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the IDE, that is the integrated development environment that we'll be using to script. So it's a platform that we'll be using where we'll be writing our code on. So how to set it up from the very scratch, how we are going to use a Gherkin language. Gherkin language is it just means writing your code in a very simple English, easy to understand English language. That is Gherkin language. And that is possible with the use of Spec Flow. We'll be going through how to generate our step definitions, all these things, setting up your test framework from the very scratch, how to use different locators, Webdriver commands, weights in Selenium. All these things we'll be going through. So that is why the training is, you have to be really determined for you to embark on the training. You have to really configure your mind that come rain, come shine, I'm not going to back down. It's going to be challenging, but that is good. You're going to face issues. You are going to face problems, but that is very good if you are facing those, because that is a learning curve for you. That will form part of your story at the interview. Unlike any other programs, your issues that you face on your framework, whether you are getting errors or something is not working, you try to run your code, it's not running, all these things will form part of your experience at the interview, will form part of your story at the interview. I do tell my students, if you are not facing any issues, you are not learning. If you are not buzzing my phone, disturbing my phone, that I don't know what I've done, this thing is not working, everything is just upside down, you are not learning, because I believe you learn more from your mistake. If you're facing issues, you come to me, we resolve it together, then you understand the process, how that particular issue was resolved. So that next time when you face such issue, you know how to tackle it yourself. And that is how you learn when it comes to stuff like this, technical stuff like this. You learn from your mistake. It's going to get to one state that even when you sleep, you'll be dreaming of code. Probably you try to do something before you sleep, you couldn't do it. I tell you, that happens to everybody that has embarked on this journey. While sleeping, you'll be dreaming of code, because your mind will be there. I do tell my students, you need to commit the minimum of 2 hours to it every day, because at the end of the day, your input will be equals to your output. So when I tell you, you stand a chance of competing with those who has been doing it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the market, I'm talking about the time and effort that you yourself has invested in it. So don't think if you don't invest your time in it, you'll be able to compete. Even if I've done my own bit, you won't stand a chance to compete with those who has been doing it for years. But if you invest your time to it, I do tell them at least minimum of 2 hours every day, because this is an avenue you know nothing about, and you want to know it, not just know it, you want to become an expert in it to the extent that you can defend and talk at the interview. So you need to devote your time into it. Apart from, so when the automation syllabus has been covered, right, then we still have a look on API testing. API means application programming interface. We'll look, because most of the jobs now requires a knowledge of API. Although it should be a standalone role on itself, like an NFT tester, non-functional tester. An API tester as well should be a standalone role on its own, but some nowadays they put it as part of general testing role, a knowledge of API. So we'll be going through API as well. The tooling that we'll be using for API as well, which is Postman, will take you on that journey as well. Apart from all this, after you've written all your code, right, your code doesn't live on your own system. Your code lives in what is called a repository. So we'll be going through a GitHub. That's another popular tool that is being widely used by all organizations or majority of organizations, because that is where you store your code. So how to create your repository, how to push your code to the repository, how to clone a repository, because it might not be the one it might not be the one who built their framework from them. Probably you joined the organization and they already have an existing framework. How do you clone that existing framework? All these you'll be going through at the training. All right, let's go back to the slide. If I can still see it. All right, so what you get after all this process, certification of completion, as well, a Udemy certificate as well. If you are interested in that as well, you can get a Udemy certificate as well. CV review, as I said, made mention earlier on, I'll give you, there's a template that you have to follow to build yours. When that is done, you send it back. I review it. If it's good enough, I'll let you know. If it's not good enough, I'll let you know that go and adjust 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your CV. Work reference as well is available. Interview preparation, and you have the 24/7 support. Support is the most important of all, because if you are embarking on any journey, you don't have the necessary support, you might get halfway and give up because you are not getting the type of support that you really want. We all need someone to, will I say rely? Someone to look up to, someone we know that we can go to at any time when we are stuck. Take, for example, you are stuck on a particular code. You don't know what to do, and there's nobody that can help you. Probably you've been calling, nobody's picking your calls. You're going to get frustrated. And you just say, you know what? I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll go back to my customer service. So you have the support, which is the key, which I reckon to be the key out of everything, the support. You have the support. Tools that you will learn. All these tools are all, I think it's more than this. All these tools are all industry standard tools. And the good thing about them is it's an open source. Open source in the sense that you don't need to pay for them. Although there's a paid version, but the open version, the community version, is more than enough to do whatever we want to do. Visual Studio will be downloading. C# is the programming language that we'll be using. GitHub is where you store your code that you will be teaching you as well. Postman is for the API, and Azure DevOps is where it's the tool that you'll be using for your, what's it called? Manual testing. So that is that. I think the other part is just the discount if you subscribe today, and with the full payment, and 5% for the half payment. But I think I want to share something, just go more deeper into, if I can find it though. 1 second. All right. So just before I open the line for questions, let me just try to go a bit deeper into the automation, a bit, just a bit, not too much, nothing technical. So the content for the automation testing that we'll be going through, as I said earlier on, Selenium and Spec Flow introduction. This consists of the behavioral driven development, the BDD, the gawking language, how to set up your Spec Flow with Selenium, how to write your feature files, generate your step definition. All these things will sound like Greek to you. But I'm telling you, at the end of the course, you are going to even be the one that will explain all these terms to me. Webdriver commands, WebDriver elements, how you find your elements, how you deal with checkbox and radio buttons, how we make use of locators and experts, because the idea is what you are testing manually, you want to do the same thing with automation. The same step that you are using to test manually, you click on a button, you enter your username, you enter your password, you click on login button to test the login functionality. It's the same thing that you did manually that you want to convert into your automation using a programming language. That makes automation interesting. So how to use page object, all these things, we equip you with enough knowledge. Don't get me wrong, we cannot cover everything, but I focus on what I know it is needed or you need to know for you to secure your first role. That is what I focus on. Learning is wide. Automation learning is wide, but you only need that bit that will get your feet at the door. Once you are inside, then learning still continues. You can learn other things. I just made mention of tools to be used, so Visual Studio, Spec Flow, Selenium WebDriver, NUnit assertion, Gherkin language, Azure DevOps, and GitOps. I just explained those ones to you earlier on as well. We'll look at how you set up your testing framework. One of the key questions that you'll be asked by a recruiter is, have you been able to set up a framework from the very scratch before? It's one of the common questions that you'll be asked, right? So we'll be going through how you can set up your own framework from the very scratch by downloading and installing Visual Studio, integrating your Spec Flow extension with Visual Studio, creating your first project, adding your nugget packages, creating your folder structure, creating your feature file, your step definition, your page object class, your hooks. And in your page object, how you add your elements and methods, in your step definition, how you call your page object method, and how you run your test. All these things will be like Greek, but believe me, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Again, I came from a non-technical background. I came from an accounting background, debit and credit. Nothing technical. Probably the most technical I've done is for that math, which I hate so much. So all these things you'll be able to do conveniently. It won't be Greek to you again. It will be part and parcel of you because it's something that you'll be doing day in, day out. It will reach a stage, it will become repetitive because it is what you are doing again and again and again and again. And when you're doing something again and again and again, you'll be forced to learn it. Introduction to test automation. Why do we do test automation? What is Selenium WebDriver? What is Spec Flow? What is Visual Studio? Let's go through that quickly. Why test automation? It saves time and money. I talked about this earlier on as well. It increases our test coverage. What we cannot achieve with manual testing, we can increase our test coverage with automation to achieve that. It improves our accuracy as well. Automation does what manual testing cannot. Not really in the form of like regression testing. If you want to carry out regression testing, depending on the size of your test suite, it might take up to 2-3 days to complete a regression testing. But with automation, it doesn't take, probably it will only take 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on your test suite, compared to 3 days if you have to do it manually. It helps you to ship quality products to market as well, to your end client as well. It gives you that confidence that yes, what we are shipping out, it's quality enough. All right. And what is Selenium WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver 2 is used to automate web application testing to verify that it works as expected. It supports many browsers such as Firefox, Chrome, IE, and Safari. So that is Selenium WebDriver for you. What is SpecFlow? I've touched on this one as well. SpecFlow is a testing framework that supports BDD, that is behavioral driven development. It lets us define application behavior in a plain, meaningful English text using a simple grammar defined by a language called Gherkin. So when we are writing our scripts, we are following a BDD approach. When we follow a BDD approach, because the reason for this is when you are working as part of a team, you're not the only one working as a team, right? Some of your team members might not be technical. Take, for example, the business analyst, the scrum master, might not be technical enough to understand your coding. But if you write your code in a behavioral driven development manner using the Gherkin language, because you are using a simple English language that everybody understands, even if they don't understand the code behind that, at least mere saying the English, the BDD, they'll understand what you're trying to achieve. A good example will be given and navigate to www.next.com and I click on login button and I enter my username and I enter my password. When I click on sign in, then I am signed up successfully. You can see everything I just said now. It's in English language using the syntax given, when, and then. When you use that, anybody can understand English language because you are writing it in a very simple English format, which everybody can understand. And that can only be possible through the use of SpecFlow. And what is Visual Studio? It is an IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment from Microsoft. It is used to develop computer programs as well as website, web apps, web services, and mobile apps. Visual Studio includes a code editor supporting IntelliSense. IntelliSense is when you are trying to write a code, it will suggest what you're trying to write for you. And that is a bit just the scratch on the surface of the journey that you are going to embark on if you subscribe for the automation testing. It is an avenue that many people think is difficult. Many people think if you're not technical, if you're not a technical person, you cannot do it. That's a lie. That is a very big lie. I'll continue to use myself. I am your living example. All that is required is your determination and your hunger for change. And it doesn't matter where you are, whether you live in Ghana, you live in Nigeria, you live in Ethiopia, you live in the UK, you can be employed in your home country by a foreign companies. Every organization requires this particular role. You can go on a job site and try it out, search yourself and see. it is the very, as in, this is the right time to get into the industry. This is a perfect time to make that career switch. Like my BA facilitator, he lives in Nigeria, but he works for a foreign company in the UK. That is a type of opportunity that can come your way. And by the grace of God, people are getting jobs. It is not by our own power. We can only try our best and allow God to favor the works of our hands. But before God can favor you, you need to do your own part as well. But what I'll tell you that people are getting jobs. People are getting jobs. So that is it from me. That is all about software automation, what is all about, what will be the tools that we'll be using, what you are going to benefit from it, how it's going to work, the tools that you'll be working with, and how intense the program could be. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask me the question. If you have anything you want me to clarify, if you have anything you want me to give an answer to, if you have your doubts, if you want to understand something better, just unmute your mic and talk to me. Can I get a UK work visa with a job in automation software tester? I said at the beginning of this, software engineer is one of the shortage of skilled worker in the UK, right? So if you are fortunate enough, you can get a company who is ready to sponsor you, who is ready to sponsor your visa, you can get that. But at the same time, you can still be in your home country and still be well paid by a foreign company. It all depends. But the course, this program, this particular job is part of the shortage of skilled worker in the UK. You can Google it yourself as well, software engineer. So that's the question from the group chat. Any other question from anyone?
Hi. So you are complicated.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you
Hello. I
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I wanted to ask how frequently the program is run, the 8-week project stuff. How frequently it is run? I will not be able to make deposit now, so I'm just trying to confirm in for the future if there's anything like that coming up anytime from the next cohorts, I guess.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that question. Sorry, if you can come again, please.
Okay, just 1 minute. So I was trying to ask if there was a different cohort coming up after this current one.
All right. Okay. All right. The next one will be 3 months after this one.
Okay.
So that will be July, August, September, probably around October.
Okay, because I'm not really buoyant right now, so
Yeah,
still
that's
trying to
fine.
get there.
Yeah, because I facilitate this myself, so I don't and I believe in quality over quantity as well. So I don't run two at the same time. I tend to focus on one group, see it to the end before I start another one. So that's why it's after 3 months that another one will be starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cost, you didn't actually, I don't know if my internet had a problem then. I didn't see anything about cost. I just saw where you had source code and bank account.
Sorry.
I didn't see the cost.
That is my, I don't actually think that slide has got the cost in there. For a UK resident, the 8 weeks training is 600. Why project, if you want to do it, which is not on that month, is 300.
Oh, wow.
But you can apply the discount as well. Why a Nigerian resident, the training I think is 300, while the project is 150.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
No problem. Judges.
Yeah, I can.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. We just want to know about the certificate of completion, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know, we going to do the exam at the end of the course, at the end of the training, or?
All right. What you would do is more than exam at the end of the training. Because the task, the way you will be prepared is even more than any exam that you have to do. Remember at the beginning of the call, at the beginning of the session, I said, we don't train for you to pass a certification exam, because certification exam, I can give you a dump you can read for your certification exam in 1 week and you go and do it and pass it. But only certificate cannot guarantee, you cannot get you the job. No. They need people with the knowledge, with the know-how. So the certificate is actually two. The certificate of completion from Learn with Pride, and Udemy certificate as well. If you desire one, that could be given to you as well. The Udemy certificate, you can put it on your LinkedIn or whatever you want to put it on. But I'm not really about certificates, if you get me. I'm more particular about what you can deliver at the end of that 3 months. How much you know at the end of that 3 months. People get jobs without certificate. You can get your job and then think about, oh, let me go and sit for the certification exam. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not good. But I've never been asked at any interview to tender my certificate before they give me the role. So yeah, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Any other question? Edit. Edit, you raise your you raise your
Yes.
hand.
Yes,
Hello.
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 Yeah, is it all right to do is it possible to do the automation without doing the manual testing?
Good question. Many people has argued this with me in the past. But again, I'm very sorry to say, I'm going to use myself as an example, as the guinea pig. You can get an automation role without you being a manual tester previously. That being said, don't forget that I'm still going to take you through manual testing. Just that I don't focus on purely manual testing, but you are still going to know the basics before we start the automation. But even let's forget about the basics. The answer to your question is yes, you can get a role as as an automation tester without you previously working as a manual tester. They have nothing in common. A typical example I'll give you is I'm working for an organization right now as an automation engineer, and they have a manual tester as well, right? After the manual tester has done his own bit, he has manually tested whatever he wants to test. That is when my own job will now start. So what the manual tester has tested is now what I'm going to work on and convert to my automation script. So yes, it is possible for you to, without going through manual process or manual testing, previous working as manual tester, yes, it is possible for you to secure a role as an automation tester.
Right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Any other question? Okay, let me just type the cost. Someone else is asking for the cost. Let me, UK. Training 600. Project 300.
Hey.
Any other question while I'm typing?
Why? What did you want me to say? Vanessa. Vanessa, what's the latest update on Mustafa? Or she thinks she's smart. No, I'm talking about you.
All right. So that is it. I just sent it on the group chat. How long is the training and how long is the work experience? All right. The training is for 8 weeks, right? That will be 2 hours every Saturday for 8 weeks. It's spaced out because, as I said, it's an area you know nothing about and you want to know it. So that is why I space it out. So after each training every Saturday, a task will be given that will occupy your week before we meet the next Saturday. So that is why I space it out, because you need time to go over my videos and you need time to go over the whatever the task have been given. It has been given out. The project is for 8 weeks as well. Both, if you are doing both, supposed to be 4-month journey. But because the project, I always start the project like 4 weeks into the training, and both will be running concurrently. Then instead of 4 months journey, it's going to be a 3 months journey. So if you are doing both, it will be a 3 months journey. But if you're only doing the training, that will be 8 weeks journey. Please, can we get the recording so we could listen again and make up our minds? Please, where do we get your videos from, my mailies? I don't know whether you're on the group chat, but if you're on the group chat, then I'm going to send the recording on the group chat. But if not, if you can drop me, if you're not on the group chat, I'm sending my email now. If you can drop me info@co.uk. If you are not on the group chat, I just sent my email. So if you can send me an email with that email address and just said, oh, probably you like the recording, you like me to send you the recording of this session, then I'll send it, I'll forward it to you. Okay, you're on the group chat. So yeah, I'm going to send it on the group chat. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, boss, goes for good evening.
Yeah, I'm Roland. I live in user.
Hello, sir.
Yes. I would like to know if this training is available in user too or just for UK.
It's available everywhere. It's not only the UK, anywhere you live, Canada, Nigeria, Ethiopia, anywhere, because it's an online. That's the benefit of it. It's remote. So as long as you have good Wi-Fi, you have a good laptop, then yes, there's no blocking stones. It's for everybody. Even the projects, everything is remote. At the
But
at the at the, at the moment, I think I've got 2 people from Canada and with the
but in
section
the hand
abroad at the moment.
in the hand of the training, we have the same certification or is different.
How do you mean same certification?
So because the certification gonna be available here. That's the right question.
Yes, I said
Because
earlier.
sometimes when you come in UK with another certification, they ask you to do some subject again.
Okay. All right. So the certification that will be given, it's not from the ISTQB. No. If you are looking for a recognized certification in software testing, then you need to do either foundation examination with ISTQB. But what I'm trying to say is certification is good. So the certification that will be given is from the company, which is certification of completion from Learn with Pride. And the other certification is the Udemy certification. Right. So what I'm trying to say in essence is even if you don't live in the UK, let's say the end goal is to come to the UK, relocate to the UK. The course or the job, the role is part of the shortage of skilled worker in the UK. Meaning you can get a company who is ready to sponsor you a visa to the UK. Right. Or you can even still be at your home country and you can still get a good job. You can get a foreign company that's going to have an interest in your profile and offer you a role while you are still resident in your home country, but with a good pay. But the certificate that will be issued is not ISTQB certificate. And for ISTQB certificate, that's a professional body which you need to register with. But the thing is, in the UK, certification alone doesn't cut it. It's not about certificates. It's not about how many certificates I can put together in 1 year and for me to land a good role. No. It's about your experience. It's about what you can offer. So that is it. So if you are looking for a professional certification exam, then you still have to go through the ISTQB professional body for the certification. I'm not on the group chat. Yeah, if you're not on the group chat, just email me at I've dropped my email info@learnwithpride.co.uk. Just send me an email and I'll attend to whatever the query is. The next cohort will be 3 months after. This one will be starting on July the 9th. This cohort will be starting on July the 9th. So the next one after that will be 3 months after July the 9th. So that will be July, August, September, October. Any other question? Any
Yes,
other? Yes.
yes. I have another question.
All
For
right.
the someone who live in user, how much gonna cost the training?
Are you on the group chat?
No.
You are not on the group chat. All right. Can you email me as well, if possible? If you can email me on info@learnwithpride.co.uk. It's on the chat. I don't know whether you can see it. info@learnwithpride.co.uk. Then I can tell you how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
Yep. Any other question before we call it a night? Any further question? Any other question? Anything at all that you want to ask? Either about the training, not about the training, about anything regarding software automation that you want to ask that it's not clear. This is the opportunity to ask. All right. I don't think there's any other question. All right. If you have any other if you remember any other thing, probably later on, you can DM me on the group. You can send me a direct message on WhatsApp, or you can email me. Either of the two, I'm going to respond. Or you can send a message on Instagram as well. Any of the mediums, I will respond to it. So thank you everyone for your time. I hope the session has been, I don't know what to call it. I hope you've enjoyed the session, so to say. No problem. Yes, we shall see on the group or on Instagram or by email. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening, have a good afternoon, have a good morning, everyone. Thanks. Good night.